I'd like to open the meeting this morning on September 9th for the 5-year policy review cycle meeting. We have Brad Morgan, Kevin Cormier, Jeremy Hammond, Nancy Hines, Randy Rush, Jackie White, myself, Lisa Bloom, and Robin Ivy. Okay. So let's just minimize this here. Can start with the approval of minutes. Can you hear me?
I will move
Oh,
to approve the minutes of August 6th, 2025.
I second.
And I I vote also, right?
Right, but
Randy?
usually you're the last one to vote, so you
Okay.
ask for everyone's vote.
And yes. Okay. And yes.
Oh, we haven't voted. We just seconded the motion.
Oh, that was okay. That's why I'm like,
That's okay.
okay. And Randy
Yes.
and Jackie.
Yes.
And I say yes.
Okay.
Okay. Robin, is there any public, any
Nope.
people?
None that I'm aware. I can check it again this morning, but when I checked yesterday, there wasn't.
Okay.
Okay, Lisa, you want to continue with the policies?
Okay. Yep. So I don't believe there's any old business, or was there
Nothing's on the agenda.
nothing? Okay. So we can start with policy JB, equal educational opportunities. It's a MASC policy. It's hasn't been adopted to one of ours yet. So
Yeah, just for some background, especially for Jackie.
Yep.
So what we did like 13, 14 years ago, we started going through MASC. Our policy book had not been updated. So in 2009 or 2011, I think I started. We realized our policy book had not been updated since 1991. We had recently joined MASC, or had been for a while, and they had a policy service. So we decided to go ahead and use that. So we used to have numbers. So we took quite a few years to go policy by policy, convert them over to the format that MASC had with their nomenclature, so we can get updates and know what needed updating per law changes and things like that. And some of the policies we did not feel we needed at the time. They have a generic policy book, and districts will go through and say, yeah, we want that one. No, we don't want that one. This one we want to do slightly different because we do things differently in our district.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these policies that were more philosophical at the time when we were doing them, we did not necessarily adopt. So as we're going through the 5-year reviews, what we're doing is reviewing what we have in place, seeing what MASC has, either additional or ones that we didn't before, and then deciding whether we need to change them, we want to adopt new ones, or in some cases rescind some of them.
Okay.
This is one of those that we did not originally adopt.
Okay.
And this is one of those more philosophical ones as well.
Yep.
So we should decide whether we want to, adopt this or not. At the bottom as well, anything that says note does not go into our files. It's just kind of information for districts that are looking at this. So this one just talks about the cross-reference. Some of them we'll talk about the differences between regional and town and different things like that. I'm still torn on a lot of these. So I look for other people's inputs. These are always great statements to be made on what we stand for, but it is another policy in a very large policy book. Brad, do you have any feeling as far as the usefulness of having these kinds of statements in our policy book in this way?
I would agree. I could go either way. I feel pretty strongly that, especially over the past 3 or 4 years, we have, in essence, put things in place that would align with this policy, whether it be a curriculum audit or things of that nature, and doing our very best to create a welcoming environment. Whether or not it needs to be a policy, I do think in some cases this is what's to be expected of schools. And to me, we don't necessarily always have to have what's a clear expectation, as far as I'm concerned, in the policy manual. I don't know if Gary's got his hand raised.
Gary,
Just to
yeah.
add to that, while I agree that it's something we should be doing, it's something we've been working on. It's always nice, particularly given kind of the current climate, to have something that further supports the work that we're doing in schools and shows that this is a directive both under school committee policy as well as kind of state expectation. So, while it could go either way to have it, I think it's might be nice to have for this one.
Repetition never hurts either, right? You see it in one place and then you see it someplace else, like, okay, we get it. Like, this is a commitment that we're making. Sorry if I was supposed to raise my hand there.
No, we're
Learning.
pretty free form here, Jackie.
Okay.
It's a small group, and we're talking about good stuff. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel it can go either way, that we could have and we don't necessarily need it with some of our other policies.
Jackie, I just wanted to make sure, are you able to access the these policies in our policies under review folder? You found the folder okay?
I did find the folder. What I'm looking at right now though is like directly in the MASC
Yeah.
stuff. So should I go back and look at our actual?
Yep, I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure you're looking at, because what happens is Randy generally will update these policies in real time, and so that we're always working off of one document.
Okay.
So in the Google Drive,
Yep.
in your packet, there's actually a link to all of these policies, and they're located in our policies under review folder. So let me know if you're not able to see that, and I'll share it with
Okay.
you, but it should be in your packet. I just want to, it's tricky when you first join.
Totally. Thank you.
And we can
Thank you,
talk.
Robert, for that clarification.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we can talk offline later, Jackie, about this stuff and how I can help you and support you moving forward.
Okay.
But if you want, I can just share it with you so you'll get the.
So I'm in the policies under review folder now.
Okay. So, but if you go to the actual packet,
Yep.
what I try to do for you all, for convenience, is I'll put a link in the packet for every policy that you all are reviewing during your meeting, so that it's right at your fingertips in the packet. So if I can share the packet with you again as well.
Right.
So I'm
So
in
under the 5-year
packet.
review folder, if you're in there
Okay.
on this particular meeting date,
Yep.
I'm gonna
going in
share.
there and just opening those links, that allows us also to see the edits that each other makes live while we're doing them.
Okay. So like I'm in there right now and I'm seeing policy JB, policy JBB.
Yep.
Yep.
Just click on those and it'll bring you to where everybody else is.
Got it.
Yep. So, yep, if you just click on the JB, I think that's what we're looking at. You'll see we're all in
Okay.
that one.
There you go.
Aha. All right. Thank you.
Success.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I just add one more thing?
Yep.
I don't know if my hand is visible. I just did want to add, and looking at it a little bit more, I would agree with Gary and Jackie, especially now where we have had a couple of incidents this year already where some aspects of this policy would be questioned by parents. And it is something that I think that obviously I feel, as I said, I feel very strongly this is something we need to be doing. But there are some that wouldn't agree with certain aspects of this policy. So it would give us the backing we need in order to ensure that all students can, I think the most important part is that students can see themselves in the curriculum.
Okay. Those are all very good points. I think I'm swayed.
Mhm.
Are there any changes, Gary and Brad, that you would want to make specific to our district?
Nothing from my end.
I don't see anything either.
And I'd be happy to make a motion to pass file JB for a first reading to the full school committee.
A second.
Okay.
Randy,
Yeah, yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
and I say yeah.
Mhm.
Just something that I noticed when you click on it, it brings you to a slightly different policy, JBB. Is that happening to everyone else?
No,
Are you in the packet, Brett?
Yes. So if I click on policy JB in the packet, it brings me to policy JBB, and that's called educational equity.
There is a JBB in
yeah,
the packet as well. I think that's next on the agenda.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure because I was looking at both
Oh.
policies, but for some reason,
You know
when I'm
what?
clicking on the first one, it's bringing me to JBB.
You know what, Brad? When I was reviewing everything, it did it before Robin updated everything
Yep.
because we had to go back in, and I had to keep going back, and I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. But then I went right to it on this one. So
Yeah, I
maybe
think
that's
what
the
it
problem.
is on the agenda, if you click on the agenda, it brings you to the MASC JBB instead of
Yes.
JB.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, okay. Um,
So should we, do we need to update like the verbiage of, how like in other policies we were putting the North Middlesex Regional
oh, good
District
point.
School Committee?
Good point. Thank you. I wasn't even paying attention to that. So yeah, I can do that. Responsive to them, the North Middlesex.
Hmm.
That look like it? Thank you, Lisa.
Was it district? Is it North Middlesex Regional District School Committee?
Regional, North Middlesex Regional District. that how we usually have it, Robin? Or we
Yeah,
do, okay. Okay, and I'm just gonna take off the note portion of it now, because that doesn't belong on the actual policy. If that's okay with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask, Brad, was this when you were making comments about how some things would apply to situations that have already come up so far this year? Was that in relation to JB or JBB?
It's actually in relation to both of them.
Okay.
Yes, so I was looking at both policies because when you're in the actual packet, it brings you to JB. But when you
Yeah.
click on the agenda, it brings you to JB. So I was going back and forth between the two and just happened
Yep.
to notice it.
On the first NMRSD on the bottom first vote has September 16th.
Yeah, because it'll go to the school committee on the 16th.
All right, so it goes for that. All right, so not today.
Right. So they'll
Okay.
vote in the first reading,
Gotcha.
hopefully, and then we'll have the adoption at the following meeting.
Okay, yep, gotcha.
I thought our meeting was tomorrow night. Is it not, or tonight?
no,
Next
it's
week?
No,
the 16th.
Okay. That's what I had originally, and then I thought something else came out that said tonight. Okay.
Well, we're meeting this afternoon on the budget.
Yeah, I know. I thought then there was another
Oh,
larger
okay.
school committee meeting tonight. Ignore me.
Too many meetings, right?
Too many meetings.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see, let's move to our next policy, JBB, the educational equity.
and so again,
This
I
is
would just ask
this.
Gary and Brad. Are there any changes
Mhm.
other than? Thank you, Robin.
Other than making it our own, I would say no. I think it covers everything.
Okay,
Can I make this motion?
go right ahead.
Okay, this is the first time I've done this. So what exactly do I need to say?
So you want
I,
to say that you move
yep,
that policy JBB be brought to the full committee for a first reading.
okay. I move that policy JBB be moved to the full committee for
A first reading.
a first reading.
Second.
And Jackie
Yes.
and Randy,
Yes.
and I say yes.
Okay. Jackie, just so you know, what happens is the full committee has to vote it for a first reading. That first reading is it puts it out to everybody for comment. To the communities, to staff, to the rest of the committee. They have time to read it and see if there's any questions they have, anything they think should be added, deleted, any comments. And then we come back again. If there were any comments, we review what was asked of or questioned. And then we can make revisions again if we need to at the full committee and then vote to adopt.
And I should know this, but how does it get out to the community? Is it
It's
like
on
an
the
email?
website.
It's on the website? Okay.
Okay, let's then move to policy JC, attendance areas. Again, this is the MASC policy, and we're just looking to see if we need this in our policies.
Yeah, this was interesting because I don't remember this one. And it's an interesting breakdown for attendance on basically where students should be attending what schools. Whereas we've always just handled it with JCA and called out where the different towns go to for elementary, middle, and high school. This one seems to break that portion out and leaving JCA for just exceptions and requirements to these attendance areas. So if you look at the note at the bottom, that's the advice that MASC is giving. So I'm not sure if it's worthwhile to do that, especially this year. I'm a little hesitant to do anything with the attendance areas until we know exactly what we're doing.
Right, and didn't we do no action on JCA?
Right, because
As
the school
well.
committee had suspended that for this 1 year, so we, could figure out what we were doing, so that we weren't
Mhm.
updating it continuously. But it could be
Right.
good conversation now just to know, decide, do we want to split it up this way? This certainly gives a lot more information and requirements on how to set those attendance areas. Whereas JCA really just kind of called them out.
To me, it doesn't feel like this totally applies to our district, right? I think it almost raises more questions than it's worth trying to, formulate responses to at this point. I don't know.
Are you talking about for right now? I'm just talking about for once we have attendance set again and we know what
Yeah.
we're doing with the different schools. Is this something, because this calls out that we, if we're going to draw new attendance lines, that we confer with the community representatives prior to that, and lays out that our primary basis for judgment would be equity of educational opportunities. So it kind of just spells out why we have the attendance areas we have, and if we're going to change them, what are the things we want to consider and do before we change anything. I'm not opposed to splitting it out with this, because again, especially when we needed to change things, this kind of gives a lot more guidance for, in the future, if we want to change it, it gives more guidance to the community to understand what we should be doing if we're going to change anything,
Okay.
and why. And it gives the administration more guidance on the process, on what they should do if they're going to recommend a different attendance areas.
If we don't take action on this now, like our 5-year cycle, right? Can we come back to it in the future?
Absolutely.
Or yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so the way that I have the policy meeting set up now, and whoever takes over for next year will have to decide if they want to continue it, is that's why I have 2 meetings per month. The first one is always a 5-year review, so we stay on top of and make sure that we go through all of the policies and nothing kind of falls through the cracks and doesn't get reviewed for 20 years. And then the second meeting is for more immediate things. If there's a law change and we have 5 policies that law affects, we can look at them now and change them now versus waiting for them to come up in the 5-year review. Same thing with something like this to implement next year. We can certainly bring it up and say, okay, this is something that we didn't have before, we didn't need before, but now we need.
Okay. That's good.
Okay. So I'm just trying to think of the best way to keep this on the radar for next year. I guess one thing we can always do is approve it and then suspend it at the same meeting and just say, we wanted this on the books, but we're suspending it until we, or is there
Suspend
anything
it
in
for
here that
1 year.
actually, huh?
Suspend
Was that
it
Lisa?
for 1 year. Just suspend it for 1 year.
But actually looking at it now, I don't think there's anything in this that we can't have this in place now. Other than calling out the specific, we wouldn't have a JC-E for an exhibit on where that is.
Does this mess anything up with is the transportation considerations? I know that's such a big issue. Like, oh, Brad, sorry, just see your hand now. But like, do we need to worry about that causing any strife when the community sees this policy and is talking about transportation considerations? Like, will they then expect us to redraw lines and go back to the drawing board on that? I don't know.
Okay. Brad, go ahead and just speak up.
I was just going to say the only thing that these two policies, and I'm talking about JC and JCA specifically,
Hmm.
you know, I do think a lot of these policies are easy to pass in a comprehensive school district where it's a single town. Where JC and JCA could in fact dictate how much a community has to pay depending upon where their kids are going to school. For instance, if right now the Ashby is paying for Squanicook because of the students that are there, or if we were to reopen Ashby and then West Townsend goes to Ashby, West Townsend is now investing in Ashby Elementary. I do think we have to keep that in mind because I think right now with Townsend, especially in their budget, in the town as a whole, we could end up in a situation where we can't pass a budget because we have policies in place that could be deemed unaffordable to the towns. If they have to, you know, again, like take on an additional building to help fund an additional building, the capital aspects of that building. You know, in a town like Westford, they're paying for the schools. They're paying for all the schools. Where us, it depends on where the kids are. With the exception, I mean, it's like that pretty much across the board. So I do think we have to keep that in mind because when it does come budget time, the school committee could adopt a recommended budget that I put forth, but then the towns may not be able to afford it based on where the kids are going to school. If that
Right.
makes sense.
That does. Yeah, I would probably say we should take a little bit more time then to craft this language to make sure that we have all of those considerations in here. And make sure that we have this to where we want it to be. So if nobody objects, I will move to table JC to future meetings, and we develop the language over time to go along with JCA.
I second.
And Randy?
I will, yes,
Oh,
it's okay. Yep, no, I
okay.
was lost in my writing.
and Jackie,
Yes.
and I say yes.
Okay.
For the language you said?
Yeah, to develop the language with JCA.
Okay, all
And make
right.
sure that both of them are together, what we want. We have all the considerations that the district needs to think about, some of those issues that Brad brought up to make sure it doesn't get lost if we're ever changing the attendance areas again.
Okay, all right. That sounds good. And so on the next three policies, JCA, JEB, and JF, I made an error and added them again to this meeting. They were on our last one in the beginning of August, so 'cause I was just kind of following, still getting used to everything. Randy caught it last night. So it will give us a little more time. So I'd like to move to policy JFABC, the admission of transfer students. That's right. And no, JF, yeah, ABC.
JF ABC.
ABC. I'm like, where is that? So
Okay. Yeah, this was originally adopted in 2020, but it's from MASC 2011. I don't think much has changed. Brad or Gary, do you see any reason to add anything specific for our district?
I
It
don't.
seems fairly straightforward to me.
I think it looks fine as is.
Okay. And does anyone else have any questions or anything that we might want to change?
Then I will go ahead and move that we have no change for JFABC admission of transfer students.
A second.
And Randy
Yes.
and Jackie,
Yes.
and I say yes. Okay, and so we'll move along, and we also need to discuss the policy subcommittee. Let's see, I'm not reading it from the audit and compliance review discussion.
Yeah, this was
Which
something I
Randy-
asked Lisa to put on the agenda. So Lisa, if it's okay, I will speak to it.
Yeah.
So this was in thinking about some of the things that happened, that it's also a couple of things I've stumbled upon as we've been coming through here, that the school committee is not adhering to some of our own policies, such as, and the law in one case, like the warrant subcommittee. A number of years back, we went to, instead of having 3 people who were on that subcommittee, just to 1 that was signing it with 1 person to back up. And looking at MASC policy, the law actually says we have to, if we're going to have a subcommittee, we have to have 3. So the school committee is not in compliance. And we're just stumbling upon some of these sometimes when you know, when they happen. So I didn't know if it was another job that the policy subcommittee would like to take on, or suggest to the full committee that we take on, to just periodically go and audit some policies to make sure that we are still in compliance. And if we need to make any changes to the policies or to our processes and procedures, that we can go ahead and do that.
Can I ask, is that like an internal thing that we need to do ourselves rather than MASC sending like an actual audit person to have like an
Yes,
outside
this is
perspective on
just something
things?
that this subcommittee
Okay.
would take on.
Okay.
And we can discuss, you know, if we want to do it and the full committee says that it's something they want us to do, then we can discuss. There's a couple of different ways I can see us tackling something like that. But we can discuss on how to do that if the full committee deems it valuable. So, any thoughts on taking on more work for the policy subcommittee? Or do we want to just make that suggestion, and we can always make a suggestion that somebody else or another group does that too? But
Brad,
being
do you
that
have
it's
your hand up?
policies, it kind of seems to fit.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
so if we're reviewing them though, wouldn't they be being updated as well and put into compliance?
Right, but we're only reviewing them once every 5 years. Hopefully, we're keeping on that schedule.
Mhm.
So I wasn't thinking of like a full process like this where it needed an entire meeting that we were doing this. Some of the ways I was thinking of is at each meeting, policies that are not going to be up this year, we can kind of divvy out 5 to each person on the committee. Just go through and audit for, are we complying with this?
I think it's a good idea.
And this
Like,
way,
especially as
it's just a quick review. Are we doing what this one says?
Yep.
And then bring them up here if we're not. So, and it's not for, does the district want to change it? It really is just are we following it?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good
I think
idea,
it,
Randy.
I think
Like,
it might be a good idea to bring to the whole school committee. So then everybody has a chance to
Yep.
take a little step into part of the policies and get to know them as well.
That's not a bad idea too.
Yep.
We can see if the school committee themselves would like to take that on for each meeting. That's not a bad idea, and I like that idea of bringing the policies.
It will kind
up
of
to everybody.
also go a little bit along with our, not so much training, but updating and refreshing ourselves in the policies.
Yep.
I like that.
And Randy, the example that you had about needing at least 3 people on a subcommittee, like I didn't know that, right? And so those are
It was just specific to the warrant subcommittee.
okay. Yep. So I think it's a smart idea for us to do it.
Okay. Then why don't I go? I will move that we bring the idea of auditing and compliance review to the full committee on how to, whether we want to implement it and how to implement it.
Hmm. I second.
Randy
Yes.
and Jackie,
Yes.
and I say yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So, okay, we're done a little bit on the early side today. So I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
I will move to adjourn.
Jackie, would you
second?
like to second? Randy
Yes.
and Jackie,
Yes.
and I say yes. And I hope everyone enjoys their day today.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thanks.